Game 2 coming up down at Rogers Place as the Edmonton Oilers look for the 2-0 series lead against the LA Kings. Tommy's got the pom-poms going once again. He did that in Game 1 to start the Oil Stream, and it worked out really well for the Oilers as they went on to win. Oh, he's going to pull out the double fisting the pom-poms for right now. That's even better for the Edmonton Oilers, I would say, for an omen. I'm Matt Iwanyk. This is the Oil Stream. Big game for the Edmonton Oilers as they look to take, like I said, the 2-0 series lead against the Kings. David G. already into the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Let's bring it tonight, gentlemen. I'm already well prepared. I have beer. That coming in from Danny Boy. I'm inside the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio here on the west end of Edmonton. Tommy is live at Rogers Place because he was there for the optional morning skate of the Edmonton Oilers, and I believe the LA Kings practicing right now, or just finishing practicing right now. But Tommy, how are you today? How's it? How are things going down at the rink? How's the mood?
Doing good. Mood's good. Business-like. The Kings just wrapping up. They've got Aaron Dell, who's their third goalie. I was talking to Zach to come. Aaron Dell did not have a great Spengler Cup with Canada when Dusty was over there in Davos over the Christmas break. But mood's good. I mean, it's, you know what's funny is these two teams, having gone through this 3 times now in the last 3 seasons, it's just like, all right, on to the next one. Very business-like from both. So the Kings are going to have their availability. David Riddick was not the first goalie off the ice. It was Cam Talbot, which was interesting too, Maddie, because as I was setting up here in the Loge level, it was David Riddick working in what is usually the starter's net for the visiting team, and Cam Talbot went down to the other end. I don't know why, but then it was Talbot that went off first, and that's usually your indicator who's getting the starting goal. Riddick stayed out, did some extra work. So it's just kind of interesting on that note, and yeah, it should be good. Everybody's in good spirits and looking forward to Game 2 after what was a very exciting Game 1 for Oiler fans.
Didn't Jay Woodcroft do that? Was that the start of this season, or was it the playoffs last year where he was messing with what net the goalie was in? I remember that there was like the traditional.
Last year, I think.
Was it last year? He would be in the starters net, but he actually started, and we're all like, what's going on here and stuff. So now the Kings think that that's what's going to affect the Edmonton Oilers. I guess try everything you can.
Do whatever you can. I mean, honestly, they have a book on both goalies. They probably have a book on Aaron Dell, obviously, too. So, yeah, I don't know. You could try to mess with them. Gamesmanship, I like that kind of stuff, but it really doesn't. I don't think it has a big factor on the outcome or how teams prepare if you try to throw them for a loop. Like watching Evander Kane skate on the 4th line heading into Game 1, and then all of a sudden he's on the 3rd line, flip that with Dylan Holloway. There's just a little bit of that. So, whatever. You know what? Makes it interesting for us to talk about.
Optional skate once again. I haven't got a notification. Earlier today, Austin Matthews didn't take an optional skate with the Leafs.
No.
And there was a notification.
Oh, no.
Wait, I got a TSN notification saying he's in for Game 3.
Oh, thank God.
Like, because he missed an optional skate. Who was missing from the optional skate today? Because I'm waiting for the TSN notification to tell me that they will indeed be playing in Game 2 tonight. But really, like, what happened at optional skate? Anything of real note?
Yeah. No, don't hold your breath because you're not going to get any. I'm pretty sure that TSN will not be sending a push notification about who did not take
What did McDavid take morning skate today?
No, he doesn't.
So I want a notification now from TSN telling me that Connor McDavid will play Game 2. Because he missed the optional skate today. If we got it for Austin Matthews, I want it for Connor McDavid. Like, come on.
Well, Austin Matthews is the best player in the world, so that's why you got that notification. And then McDavid is I'm just kidding. I'm obviously being sarcastic, but no, everybody seems fine. McDavid seemed like he was in good spirits. He didn't speak to the media, but he popped into the locker room really quickly. And the one though that was a bit of a question mark, and it looks like he's ready to go, is Vinny Desharnais. He actually didn't take morning skate. He normally does, especially when it's optional. Just being a newer NHLer, this being his first full NHL season, but no, he took the option, didn't go out there, but he spoke to the media, the French contingent that was here, Pat Henry, Francois Gagnon, who are here, and he looks like he's ready to go. And then Chris Knobloch said no changes for his lineup in Game 2. Desharnais, a full participant yesterday in Edmonton's quick and efficient full team skate. 20 minutes they went. And so, yeah, it's just, you know what, you're going to get nicked up. It's just part of the game. It's part of the postseason. And the guys that were taking the optional, Darnell Nurse was out there. Evan Bouchard was out there. Who else? You know, guys that are going to play Holloway,
you had McLeod.
Yeah.
Well, Nurse, Pickard, McLeod, Carrick, Ryan, Stetcher, Brown, Bouchard, Gagne, Holloway. So Bouchard, Holloway, McLeod, Nurse?
Yeah. Nurse was out there. He usually takes the morning skate. He just likes taking it when it's optional.
If it gets, if that's the way that you need to prepare for a game, you got to do what you need to do with that. And yeah, I think for Darren, if you're a full participant, it was only like a 20-minute practice yesterday, right? Like it wasn't a long practice.
It was quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got your practice in. Why just get ready for the game tonight. That's right. The big one. What type of game do you think you're expecting we're going to see tonight? I was with the hangout Belsey was in. There's just something in me. Like I still feel very good about the Edmonton Oilers. I feel very confident this is a team that's going to beat the LA Kings, but I don't feel like it's going to be as high scoring maybe as we saw on Monday night. I feel like this one might be a little more tighter defensively from both sides. What do you think we're going to see tonight?
Count me in as one of the people that feels like it's going to be a closer game. Good on the Oilers for the push that they had, building up that lead. They played a really smart, tight game, sound defensively. When they did, have a bit of a hiccup on the back end, they would recover really well. But I think the Kings are going to come out with a big 10 minutes. They're going to have a huge push. They're going to try to get that lead and then get into their 1-3-1 and then try to force the Oilers' hand a little bit. But Edmonton has done a good job in recent games against LA, breaking through that 1-3-1. We saw it in the last regular season game. We saw it the other night. So I do think regardless, it'll probably, have the Kings playing a tougher style and shoring up their game a little bit. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tighter game. Some people around here, I'm not going to name names, but friends of EST believe that this one might be going to OT tonight.
Bob Stauffer.
No, it wasn't. Actually, wasn't Bob. Wasn't Bob who said that.
I hope not. Gager predicted double OT yesterday on two guys, but that's just because he wanted to mess with Cass there. I think Zach picked OT as well tonight. So
I think we're going to see a 1 or 2 goal game. Matty, it's going to be
either way.
A tight one.
Yeah.
Either way.
Not just 1 or 2 goals entirely. It's going to be the difference between the two, like 3-2 or 4-2 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. And I do like Edmonton's chances. I think LA is going to push and they're going to throw everything they can at the Oilers to get the split in Edmonton before they fly out tomorrow.
Well, I would think the key for the LA Kings, if it's going to be that close game that comes down to the wire or does go to overtime, you can't allow those early goals from the Edmonton Oilers. You get down 2-0 through the first 10 minutes of the hockey game.
Yeah.
How are you going to come back? You're going to have to open things up from your 1-3-1, and likely the Oilers are going to find some more goals. So I think for them, they need to get through the first 20 in it, almost the first period, keep it a 0-0 hockey game, and then they'll feel really good about their defensive game and how they're going, and that's where we might be in the potential of a 3-2 hockey game that, might go to overtime.
Yeah. That came up today with Leon Draisaitl when we spoke to him, and it was asked, I think it was DVD that asked him, hey, if you guys score early, like the first 5 minutes, do you think that forces LA's hand to open things up? He actually said he doesn't. He thinks that they're going to stick to their game plan. They're going to try to settle in, and that they probably think that a 1-goal deficit, they could still chip away and don't necessarily need to start going run and gun with the Oilers. I'm not going to lie, Matty, I kind of think that LA can run and gun better than years past. No, would they win that battle against Edmonton? In theory, probably not. Could they every now and then? Sure. But I actually like some of the players that the Kings have offensively, Victor Arvidsson being one. Kempe's been an Oiler killer to a certain extent. Trevor Moore, when he's not trying to submarine 7-foot defenseman, can be very effective. And, I know they need Byfield and Dubois to get going, and even Deneau sometimes could get going offensively. I didn't think those guys were particularly great. What's going on, Matty? Because I'm
sorry. I just saw a piece of CFL news that got me.
Sean Lemon?
Yeah. That was the first one I saw that. CFL announced that Sean Lemon, who retired earlier this offseason, it was just a couple weeks ago he retired, he had re-signed with Montreal earlier, actually, in the offseason. He's been suspended indefinitely due to wagering on CFL games, including one which he played in. So, like I said, that's the Porter story with the Raptors, Lemon with the CFL. Get used to hearing more of that. Those suspensions are going to keep happening in sports. I will take the side of at least we're catching them now, as opposed to this stuff has been happening, but we weren't catching them because we weren't being able to regulate it and follow it. Now we're being able to catch it. But yeah, that one just. I was trying to find any update news and notes from other stuff from practice today, and that one hit me. So sorry to sidetrack there.
No, I saw that. Good on the CFL for cracking down, and Sean Lemon probably would be a Hall of Famer if he didn't get busted for doing that. So,
well, actually, I don't know. Andrew Harris got busted for PEDs, and everyone's praising his career. I guess it's different. I should say that.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? What?
I was going to go back to hockey.
I was going to be like, let's save it for the hangout.
How quickly do you think, or how short of a leash does Cam Talbot have tonight?
Like
we're already talking. We're paying attention to is Dave Rittich potentially going in? Like,
right?
Does he have a short one, or does he get the same type of leeway almost as last game?
Were there bad goals how bad were the goals on Talbot, or were those really nice plays by the Oilers? Like, was that first one by Hyman that great? Kind of tucked through him. Maybe that wasn't particularly great. The Draisaitl goal was a thing of brilliance. I'm not knocking Talbot for, that one. McDavid with a couple of nice plays, too, to set up a couple of tap-ins. And Nugent Hopkins' goal, brilliant pass by Draisaitl. Like, the Oilers scored really good goals on him where I don't know which goalies would. Even Bobrovsky with his, Spider-Man save yesterday on Dumba. Like, I don't think a Bobrovsky at the peak of his game would stop some of those goals that went in. Those were just great plays that was basically checkmate for the Oilers. So, now, to get back to, Talbot's leash, I think if they go down 3 in the first period, then I think we see David Rittich, and maybe Rittich starts to get a feel and get into the series. And then maybe Jim Hiller thinks that if that were the case and the Kings were down a couple going into the third or second period, Rittich could be the guy to maybe spark them, So I think there's some patience for Talbot, and I don't know if you're going to lay a lot of blame on him for that last game, but I feel like with those two, pick one. Is Talbot that much better than Rittich? Both guys were all-stars in recent years, surprisingly, and so we'll see. I think Talbot's going to try to do everything in his power to have a better game, although I'm not laying blame on many of those goals from the other night.
When I think it was yesterday, he was praising the atmosphere of Edmonton, obviously knowing it.
Kill him with kindness. And he's a classy gentleman, that Cam Talbot.
Were there any Talbot chants during that game?
All night.
They
were going,
I was at Hudson's and stuff, so it's like you couldn't hear fully.
Yeah, all game long they were on Cam.
Well, I don't know other fans, actually.
They gave him the Bronx cheer, too, when he stopped a light shot that came in after. I think the Oilers had made it 2-0, and a light puck rolled into him, and they gave him the Bronx cheers. So he knows, Cam knows, and you know what? He was a really good Oiler. He got screwed over, had terrible defense in front of him, and the Oilers chose to go with Mikko Koskinen, and we know how well that worked out.
Amazing. It was
I brought in Mike Smith.
It was a wonderful ride in terms of entertainment. In terms of
absolutely.
Excitement of things that were unexpected. And the butterfly effect would suggest we might not be here today preparing for this game too in this way if that never happened. So thank you, Mikko Koskinen.
Well said.
Your thoughts always welcome. 780-218-9999. That's in the Parish Jewelers inbox. You can jump in the nasty chat. Derek from the Hat, currently on a 6 o'clocker logger per period pace for round 1. LFG, what a logger. Decent pace. Yeah, 1 for 3. 3 beers. If it gets to overtime, that'd be interesting. Now, he says for round 1. So what's the pace Derek from the Hat is going to go for round 2 or 3? Like, do you go a beer and a half per period, or are we 2 beers per period, or we stick with the 1? Like, just the 4 round 1, it's like he's planning on increasing his consumption as the Oilers progress through the playoffs.
Those are tall boys too, man.
Yes.
Those can get you. They're delicious, and they go down easy. But I'd say is that mix in a water, pace yourself. I think 1 a period is pretty impressive, and I feel like it was a quiet Tuesday around Edmonton. I really do. And then we'll have a quiet Thursday tomorrow, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
And then everything just, gets ramped up and cranked to 11 on Friday. And then Sunday is going to be interesting.
Friday's going to be an interesting one, in the city of Edmonton, because it's an 8:30 start.
Yeah.
Bars are going to be packed. And when that's over, not everyone has Hello Hockey to work the next day. So for everyone else.
Oh my God. Hey, I didn't get out of Hudson's till like 1.
I know.
I think I got home around 1:15, 1:30-ish. It was a long haul, but Connor and Adam and Steve and all the crew out at Hudson's, they're great. By the way, if you want to come down, book your table, because it sounds like Friday on White Ave, Connor over at White Ave Hudson says that they already have a lot of rezos. So if you want to come down, hang with the Nasties, take advantage of drink specials, book those tables.
Yeah. That's Friday, especially. Again, it's a Friday night in Edmonton on White Ave. That there in itself is going to be, busy. Now you're adding in Oilers game 3 against the LA Kings. Tom Gazzola with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows. Tonight, he's at West Edmonton Mall on Bourbon Street. I know Cass is coming by for pregame with you. That's at 6:30 right here in Edmonton Sports Talk. I'll be manning controls from back here today. So any details, throw them my way. And then you got the post-game from there, and then games 3 and 4. Tommy will be at Hudson's White. And then we'll figure out the schedule after that, but we will be at a Hudson's throughout the entire Edmonton Oilers playoff run. Derek from the Hat does say that it's going to be 1.5 6 o'clocker loggers for round 2, 2 for round 3, and so on. So 2.5, I guess, for the Stanley Cup Finals. Should mention also that the 6 o'clocker lager, it's part of Alley Cat, who are the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which is taking place in July. It's 12th through the 14th, I believe it is, out at Kingsman Park. Some unbelievable comedians coming to town, including Kevin Hart. Shane Gillis will be here. Tickets for
Andrew Schultz.
Tickets for Friday, I think VIP tables all gone. There's still general admission. Saturday, if there's anything left, there's not a lot. And then Sunday, those are going to fill up pretty quickly. But if you happen to go to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival this year, you'll be able to purchase a 6 o'clocker lager. The first marquee event the 6 o'clocker lager is going to be a part of. We really haven't had the patio beers with the 6 o'clocker lagers. Right?
No,
we haven't got into peak lager season just yet. That is to come. And Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. If you want to go have some laughs and enjoy some 6 o'clocker lagers. Portions of this hour of the Oil Stream, they're brought to you by Boston Pizza Playoff Menu, which is now available, featuring the halftime square footer, a flight of wings, the triple play platter, and the new Chipotle chicken quesadillas. Fuel your fandom at Boston Pizza. Tonight's game, is there anything else that you look at for tonight's game that kind of needs to be hit on that we haven't gotten to as of yet, Tommy? Or because it just feels so weird. I don't think there's a lot of concerns people have in the city of Edmonton. No one's panicking. There's naturally going to be those nerves ahead of game 1 for fans around the city, just because it's game 1 of the playoffs, the Oilers' record in game 1s. I don't sense that nervousness in this city right now. I don't sense this. The anticipation of game 2 in terms of who knows what's going to happen. I get the sense of, the Oilers got this.
I think it's fair to have that sentiment and feel. I'll go back to Leon Draisaitl was really good today. He was pretty willing to share his mindset and thoughts on things, and he didn't really close it down and get ornery with anybody. And he was asked, hey, you haven't really been in this position since round 2 of 2017. Does it feel different? Is it weird? What do you expect? And he's like, you're right. No, we haven't been in this spot really for the majority of his career in the postseason, but it shouldn't change anything, and they shouldn't let their foot off the gas. He did mention that when LA got, a couple of lucky fortuitous bounces that did get past Stuart Skinner, maybe they can kind of keep the pedal to the metal a little bit better. And that is a good reminder that if you let up even a little bit of, a bounce here, a bounce there could spark the opposition in the playoffs. And that's the magic of the postseason. So that was kind of neat in itself, but like noteworthy. No, it's very businesslike and it's interesting. It's very calm right now. I'm not saying that it's a formality in the first round or anything like that. It's just like, all right, game one, that was interesting.
At least around the city, like it feels like a formality. Like I'll take it out of the players because I really hope no team ever feels like it's a formality or that's where you get beat.
Nor should it, yeah.
But like the city, it just feels like there's this foregone conclusion of, okay, we're already paying attention to what's going on with the Canucks and the Preds. And like, I'm the type of person, I said on two guys yesterday, Gager and Cass were mad at me for going this way, but Belsey was on my side today, so I love it. Like with what's happened with Demko in Vancouver, to me, like if the Oilers aren't in the conference finals, they've really screwed up. They failed in this situation because they should beat the LA Kings. They own the Nashville Predators, and if they take on a Canucks team that doesn't have Demko, they should beat that team. They should go on into the conference finals, that they should be the overwhelming favorites right now to be sitting in the Western Conference Finals.
Hey, first of all, why are we looking at? I'm just kidding. Casey DeSmith did get the better of the Oilers a couple times 100%. This year. I will say that. Although last night, like, I'm not blaming him for that first Philip Forsberg goal. That was just a lucky bounce. And then the second Philip Forsberg goal was a thing of beauty. Good on the Preds for having the game that they did. But yeah, Matty, like this team has built itself up, and it's taken pain in the postseason, pain in the regular season to get to this stature in the National Hockey League. And, you're expected to be elite. You have some of the most elite players in the NHL. You have a good supporting cast. It's taken time. So maybe that's part of the business-like approach. Plus, people have had their heart broken before, and maybe they're a little more reserved instead of gung-ho about the first round. But if the Oilers lose a game or two, I think that the nerves will start to kick in, and we're going to have a lot to chew on our shows. But, right now the waters are calm, and that's a good place to be. And we'll see if they remain that way after tonight. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't get the sense that people are really looking ahead. But now with the experience that the fans have had in recent years, that, keeping a keen eye on some other series, it's more than okay to be like, well, if this happens, how about this and that with Vancouver? Oh, Nashville's doing that. Oh, how about the Dallas Stars? What happened there? I don't mind that. You kind of just keeping a bit of a side eye on those other series. And we're in a spot now where, covering this team or watching this team like the fans have, dealing with the turbulence of the highs and lows and the drops and all of that, where it's like even the fan base to a certain extent is battle hardened. Hey, is that a good way to describe it? Yeah.
Like it's when they first made the playoffs 16, 17, and then when they finally made the playoffs, I'm going to say the first 3 years, because the first one, it was the bubble with Chicago, but no one could go. Then it was the series weird with the Jets. Yeah. It was the weird season also. No one could go. Yep. So when they finally got the first LA Kings series 3 years ago, if fans could finally be back for playoff games. And there was an excitement of being back in the playoffs and being there for playoff games. And you could sense that with the Jets this year when you're watching games in Winnipeg. You see that in Vancouver. There's just this major explosion of excitement from their fan bases. But especially haven't been there as much, or there's an added excitement. Where the Oilers, okay, well, let's just look at the last 3 years. 2 years ago, 2 seasons, conference finals. You saw 3 playoff series. Last year, you got 2 series out. You're back in the playoffs, and the expectation of these last few years hasn't been getting to the playoffs. It's succeeding in the playoffs. And round one it's almost like the Edmonton looks at it as fans based on oh, that's cute. We're in first round. Get me to the second, third round, and get me to a Stanley Cup final. More specifically, let's go all the way. So,
slow build.
Yeah. It is a full slow build. We're about 15, 20 minutes away from the EST FlyAway, a keyword here on the Oil Stream, live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, iHeartRadio, tune in, as well as those watching on YouTube. I do want to get into this quick story because you were at the game for parts of it a couple nights ago for Game 1. There was a story on CTV yesterday. Well, it's actually a Canadian Press story from a friend of EST, Steve Sandor, talking about...
Oh, yes, let's go to this.
About the crowd. And the headline on CTV Edmonton, at the very least, is high prices, ? Kings fatigue, ? Empty seats evident in Oilers playoff series opening home ice. When we were asked the question on the Oil Stream on Monday, do we expect a point where these games won't be sold out? This game was sold out officially on the sheet. It was an official 347 or whatever official sellout is at Rogers. The Oilers said that of the 180 unsold tickets that were remaining at 8 p.m., they were returns from the Kings and the NHL that they would get. But what was it like inside the rink? What was the crowd like? And did you notice a lot of empty seats?
First of all, attaboy Steve for feeding the Oilers a shot in the pills right out of the gates. That was funny when I had that sent to me at like 6:30 this morning, and I was like, oh, attaboy Sandor. The other thing is there were a couple of rows. There was one in like the club or not the club section, but the one right behind the Oilers bench that was empty. And I think there was one behind the Oilers net, a row or two that were noticeably empty. But for the most part, it was packed. Like it was full. And I thought maybe it was late arrivals or people who couldn't make it or secondary market stuff. And Maddie, you know, like we talked about it the other day, I think it was on Monday, where I'm like, people are going to pay, they're going to get excited. That's where that Kings fatigue and maybe what we're talking about, the fan base and the expectation to move on into the next couple of rounds is where people are kind of, holding onto their cards a little bit, keeping them closer to their chest instead of getting too excited right off the hop. And I think there was some quotes in that article that Steve wrote from a season ticket holder that said, I'm going to wait till, past the first round. And as the series progresses, if it gets a little dicey for the Oilers, I feel like a season ticket holder that's in that position and said he was going to wait, if it gets to game 7, probably goes to the game. But good on the fan base for standing their ground and waiting and being patient and not caving to the 30% uptick. I'm not going to say it's not criminal. It's just the Oilers and OEG, having worked for them, I know that they want to maximize this, and I know they want to get their profits. And I feel bad for those that can't or get priced out of that, because it's BS. It's already expensive to come to these games, man. Like it sucks, and I'm never surprised when they do it. So good on the fans and those who don't want to buy those tickets yet to hold off and not cave and not fork up extra money. That's a way of sending a message. But so they throw these pom-poms on the seats, right? But underneath the pom-poms is a little placard, and it's for a scan to get in on season seats. So that might be indicative of something too. And the one way to get the message across to the team and the organization is, no, we're not having this price increase. Sorry. But yeah, ultimately, I think as this goes on, people will pay those prices. It's the gouging is obvious.
Well, yeah,
it won't stop.
And I will
until enough people don't show up.
I will say this, that Haas said on the Lock Shop today that conference finals and Stanley Cup finals, he said he thinks are NHL priced. The NHL gives those pricing.
That I don't know.
So and that's something Haas said. So if that's the NHL too, just they come in and they dictate kind of what the pricing needs to be for those 2 rounds.
Because they're taking cuts too.
Yeah, I think that just overall, I'm a little surprised that we saw that story already. We talked about it on Monday. I didn't think we'd see it these playoffs. I felt that one day there could be a reckoning for this. I think to your point with this season ticket QR code and stuff, that's where I think the reckoning first comes, is that we're going to see a lot more empty Rogers places throughout October through April. And then people are going to save their money, hold on to their money so that they can buy the tickets for the playoffs. And it might have to be, they'll try to be like, hey, buy season tickets to get your playoffs. But there'll be people that know I'm just going to buy the playoffs and wait for the single games, or on the resale market, I'll go jump in on those. But this is something that, I'm with. It's not criminal because people are paying it in the end. And that's the economy. That's what we work on. That's what we want with capitalism. That's for everyone that goes that way. Like, it's supply and demand. There's a supply or the demand for it. So limited supply, they could jack up their prices. But to me, and I'm still fascinated by this, there's a reckoning for entertainment dollars in general. This isn't an Oiler thing. You go to concert tickets right now are ridiculous.
Yes,
I think is it Pink that's coming to Commonwealth Stadium? She's her prices are hundreds and hundreds of dollars for upper bowl. I think at one point I saw like $200 or $300,
like $350, isn't it?
And it's an obstructed view. You don't even get a guaranteed view of the stage or anything like that.
Yeah,
like I thought post-COVID we'd see things come down, but we've seen the opposite. Everything go up, and I'm fascinated to see how this fully plays out. At what point, like how do you start? I can't recall too often teams, like not just Oilers across the board, start rolling back season ticket prices. How do you start sitting there like we have to do a 7% decrease, and then what does that do to your bottom line and things like that? So I'm very fascinated by this. I'm fascinated to see what the crowd looks like tonight, but it's always going to be raucous at the very least at Rogers Place.
It will be. And Matty, like, listen, I know that story came out today, and you know Steve's not just there to mess around. Like, there's some validity to it, but it was packed, and you didn't see a lot of empty seats, but those couple of rows were noticeable. And the NHL and the visiting team do get holds, and they're released late in the day. They're not cheap tickets. They're usually pretty expensive, and so those didn't sell. But yeah, it's just we'll see. I think it'll be packed again. It'll be sold out, quote unquote. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, this might come down to what we just talked about before this, where I'm not going to go out like Kings fatigue, but Oiler fans knowing like slow burn. Why am I going to spend my money on round one when I want to go see the conference finals? Or I want to go to the Stanley Cup finals, and with the prices as they are, and I can maybe only pay on the resale market 1 or 2 games, I'm not going to waste that on game 1 or round 1. I'm going to save that and try to get to a conference finals or a Stanley Cup final.
I do have a quick story,
just
a little anecdote. I do remember when I was still doing Oilers TV and working for OEG, after they made that run to the second round in 2017, the next year's budget for the organization was planned with the Oilers getting to at least the second round and those playoff dates secured. That was a mistake. They didn't even make the playoffs. Remember, they fumbled and bumbled for 2 seasons. Well, there were a lot of layoffs in that season. And especially once they realized that the team wasn't going to make the postseason, a lot of people started getting let go, people that had been with the organization for a long time, people in all sorts of roles. And that's the fine line that they walk when you try to, guarantee or assure yourself and tell yourself that a team's going to do, accomplish this goal, but it, falls well under getting to that point. So that's somewhere where this organization has faltered in recent years. And I'm sure it's still in the back of their mind, but yeah, you got to be careful, man. You can't pound the crap out of your fan base and their wallet and expect them to just continually come back for more.
Breaking news from the National Hockey League. San Jose Sharks have fired head coach David Quinn. So making a change there, I guess. I don't know. They're not going to be good for a number of years still.
Well, they're barely an NHL team.
That's the thing. That's why I love these ones, because whoever comes in, good luck. I look forward to the press release 3 years from now where they're making this change again, because you're still trying to build yourself up. It's a very tough job to come into, and well, Mike Greer he's made some moves as a GM as the Sharks, some interesting ones, and now we'll get to see what he's got when it comes to finding a head coach. He was always my favorite Oiler, not going to lie, though. I always loved Mike Greer, and when he got traded, I was when my dad told me that, I was pretty devastated by that. We will get to the EST FlyAway keyword momentarily here. Do want to talk about Coolbet here quickly. We want you to ride with Edmonton Sports Talk all playoffs long at Coolbet. Watch for the EST parlays every game day only at Coolbet. I got to build one again today. Although Huss at the end of the lock shop said that the boys of Coolbet are in New Orleans for the Zurich Classic. Because we built a lock shop parlay. So we don't know if we're going to be able to get that boosted and thrown in the exclusives. And I want to build.
Are they working at the, or are they enjoying New Orleans?
Well, Pendrith is a Coolbet ambassador, so working in quotes. They're for that
loose work trip.
But with their bet builder, I can't do some of the things that we did last bet. So I don't want to build something that. I don't know. Here's what we'll build an EST parlay, but what I'll say is there's no guarantee it'll get put up on Coolbet, because I got to get a hold of these boys and they're in New Orleans, and I don't know what's going on in New Orleans with those boys yet. So
yeah, well,
so I'm going to throw this out there again to the nasty chat as well as Paris Jewelers inbox. Going to need your help on this because I said, do I mess with what happened in game one? Do I do something different? Huss, Duck Dad both said you got to don't change something that's working. So
right.
Oilers win. We're going to keep that. McDavid 2+ points. We're going to keep that. I'm thinking I'm not going with the Draisaitl goal. And I don't know if I want to go with the Nuge point if this is a tighter game. So I got to figure out what we can do with that. Do we go with a Bouchard point? I don't mind that. Historically, Dusty loves going with a Bouchard point. And then do we just go with Draisaitl point? Or do we need to get Zach Hyman in there after his hat-trick performance? What do you think we're going to see from Hyman tonight?
I mean, do you want M&Ms? Do you want delicious crispy crunch? Do you want pick your candy? Because all those guys are gonna, especially if that power play gets an opportunity. I know the Kings have the second best PK in the league, but man, those guys are just taking it to a different level. And I think that's another thing I should have said. And I'm sorry to sidetrack here, Matthew, but the Kings and Dubois, I thought specifically, they were trying to get the Oilers to take the retaliatory penalties. I think that's something LA needs to clean up, because if they try to do that and the refs want to call those chintzy calls, like the one where Dubois was on McDavid and they gave him interference, I think that was trying to set the tone from the officiating and the refs. But with the way Edmonton was able to convert, going 3 for 4 on the power play the other night, the way that those guys are passing it around, McDavid is firing the puck. He's shooting now, so look out. If the Oilers get their power plays, they're going to score, man. I don't know what the Kings can do to lock it down. Maybe it's block shots, take away lanes, better sticks, but I like Edmonton on the power play. So if LA is going to be undisciplined and try to, do that stupid stuff, I think they're going to get burnt again. I just wanted to add that. So sorry, do the parlay.
Well, I can't. So McDavid 2+ points is okay. I'm going to have to rely on the nasties a little bit. Is this too much? McDavid 2+ points, Bouchard point, Henrique point. Oilers score a power play goal. Oilers win.
Ooh, Henrique point. That's the dicey one. I like that.
Well, and we saw what that first line did early in the game, especially against the Kings in game one. Do we go with the first line, like McDavid 2+, Henrique and Hyman each getting a point? We add a power play. I said Bouchard in there. I'll take Bouchard out. I'll take Bouchard out of that. Well, if they're going to score a power play goal, Bouchard's going to probably be in it.
Good chance of it.
And Oilers win. Is that way too much? Is that greedy? Is that crazy?
Well, you hit on one that was quite a bit the other day.
Yeah. And yesterday we just missed an OT goal is what cost us. Huss and I. We had a +700 on Lightning, Preds, and Rangers to win. So I'll leave that open.
I say go for it. You're juicing it up.
Rod Z knows. He says way too much in the nasty chat. Well, Rod Z, okay, you tell me what I need to take out of that, Rod Z. I'm gonna throw it out there again. You tell me what to go with, and that's what we'll make as the EST parlay. We'll try to get it up at Coolbet. So I had McDavid 2+ points. I had Henrique point, Hyman point, Bouchard point, Oilers power play goal, Oilers win. What do I take out, Rod Z? Let's get to our EST keyword. Right now for the EST of FlyAway, we want to send you to Las Vegas, 3 nights accommodations, 2 nonstop flights, tickets to Cirque, all thanks to our partners at the LVCVA in Vegas, as well as FlyYEG, over 50 destinations, nonstop destinations. Your sports trip starts with FlyYEG. Check them out, FlyYEG.com for more information. The keyword for today that you have to text to 780-218-9999. Stevenson. Text that to 780-218-9999. Stevenson. STEPHENSON. Stevenson, as in Chandler Stevenson of the Vegas Golden Knights. You want to text that right now. 780-218-9999. We only have 4 more qualifying opportunities after today for you to get into this draw, as we will give it away Friday morning on the morning show. Stevenson is the keyword that you have to text in. We'll give someone a call at the end of the oil stream, and you will be the 5th last qualifier for the giveaway. Rodzi saying McDavid 2+ points, Fogle point, Edmonton money line. I'm not risking this on Fogle point. Oh,
Fogle.
Bouchard point, McDavid 2+ points, Hyman point, Edmonton win. Okay. Penner's Pancakes isn't in on that one. We're locking in.
Oh, all right.
We're going to lock that in as the EST parlay. I'll see if I can get the Coolbet boys to put that up. Keep it locked, coolbet.com. Look for exclusives. Click there. If they get it up, it'll just say Edmonton Sports Talk Parlay. Click that, and you'll go in and you'll see what they do for us. But actually, I should check if we have the Lock Shop Parlay up there. We do not yet. So.
I have a great text I want to read, too.
Go for it.
Mark in the Park says, we have a buddy who works at Alley Cat and was able to get us an entire keg of 6 o'clocker lager. It's already gone from game 1. I don't know how we can keep up this torrid pace. Signed, Mark in the Park. That is very impressive. I'm guessing it was a 20 because you could get the 20s and you could get the 50 liters. But Mark in the Park, bravo. Bravo. A polite golf clap to you and the boys for getting that done. And the ladies that probably enjoyed some crushable 6 o'clocker lager.
Well, with those late games.
For game 1.
Yeah, well, if you get those late games, you tap it a little early. It's you could just start going into that. Good luck Friday, Saturday when it's the 8:30 game times. Closer to 8:50 starts.
It's the weekend, baby. Light it up.
It is, but you've got Hello Hockey. 10 o'clock's
I'm not saying
that
I'm
bad.
lighting
No,
it up.
I know 10 o'clock's actually not that bad. Just as long as that's not an OT game.
Well, you know what? We've done Hello Hockey all season long. I've had some rough ones. I will be just fine. I'm working the Friday night. I'm not partying. I'm not celebrating. I'm not enjoying the same way.
And Belsey won't even be in studio with you, he was saying. He's out in Red Deer this weekend.
Oh, well, that's good to find out.
He's got the Alberta Cup he's got to be at. So he'll be doing the show from Red Deer.
He is a head coach and a GM of 4 teams, so
he's got to do some scouting. Important. He's got some scouting work to look into. Okay. Elsewhere tonight, Vegas, Dallas. That's going to be a fun game. The Stars just they need this one. You can't go down 0-2 to the Vegas Golden Knights and then head to Vegas. They absolutely need this one, don't they?
Well, I'll say no.
You don't think they need this?
I'll counter that. I'll say no. I'll say they don't need it. They want it desperately, but are we saying the Golden Knights are the defending champion caliber from last season already? Or are we kind of seeing, like, was game 1 them just fired up and they kind of threw all their energy into that one? Are they going to be able to replicate that in game 2? Are we jumping the gun a little bit? I'm one of those that was like, oh my God, look out for Vegas. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Dallas is a hell of a hockey team. They have playoff savvy. I think that they're going to counterpunch nicely. But even if they don't win this game, I think that the Dallas Stars are going to be just fine in game 3. I think that they have the capability to bounce back, be calm under in some rough waters. Like, I think they'll be okay, even if they drop game 2. I don't think they're going to drop game 2, Maddie, but I think that if they go down 0-2 to the Golden Knights, I think they still have a good chance of climbing their way out of it.
The Toronto Maple Leafs, slight favorites at home to the Bruins. You think without William Nylander, but they do have Austin Matthews.
Thank God.
Could they get 2-1 over those Bruins?
I'll say no.
Okay, I'm with you.
I'll say the Bruins bounce back.
Thank you.
I'll say the Bruins bounce back. Good on the Leafs. They're going to put up a good fight, and I'm still of the mind, like, what are the Boston Bruins? Are they the powerhouse team that they were last regular season? Or were they? I know that they were at the top of the Atlantic fighting with the Panthers all year long, but I still look at the games where they lost 15 in OT. They got the loser point so many times that I'm like, I'm a little bit leery on them. But I think that they'll be able to manage against the Leafs, even as a slight underdog in Toronto, with everybody super excited. And with Austin Matthews, thank God he's in, and he didn't take the morning skate because he needs his rest.
Optional morning skate.
Okay,
I want to make this clear. Optional. It was an optional morning skate that he missed, and we got a notification to say that he's good for this game. An optional morning skate.
Very important to know that. I still like Boston tonight.
Yeah, I don't want to get into everything about betting, but like I saw the line yesterday of Boston being the underdog. And it's very slight underdog, but I was like, I didn't think Boston was going to lose game 2 necessarily. And like this is, I don't believe in the Toronto Maple Leafs at all. That I will take Boston all day. I don't think this is a team that's going to go down 2-1 to the Leafs. While the Leafs have some good players,
they do.
They do. The Bruins are just
really good.
To me, the Bruins are a really good team. And yes, they may be, to your point, overtimes, a lot of those Bettman points and things like that. That would be more of a concern for me in the next round when they go up against potentially like the Florida Panthers, who, by the way, that game yesterday, the goaltending between Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky was unreal. Those guys were just going toe-to-toe in making amazing saves. And that was a fantastic, like, almost old-school-esque type game where it was the goalies that just were standing on their heads and there was just no way of beating them, it felt like.
I love those games. You know what? Even watching Colorado and its bounce back yesterday, like how crisp and sharp they were and the movement in the offensive zone. And Winnipeg counteracted really well, I thought. And Georgiev made some absolutely brilliant saves. Yes, I love saying Georgiev. But, man, it's incredible to watch how the playoffs change the way the players engage. And the give a crap meter goes way up. And the result is just fantastic hockey. Now, I was thinking about this last night. It's like there seems to be less mistakes because everyone's so dialed in. But I think the bumps and bruises, wear and tear of the postseason and the style of play is going to open up the mistakes and the mental flubs and all of that. And we're going to start to see that battle and game of attrition start to come in the second round. But right now, it is just all go. It's razor sharp hockey, smart hockey for the most part. It's brilliant to watch, and that's why this, the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs is some of the best hockey we get to see.
And it has been throughout this since Saturday.
Yeah,
we've just been. Has there really been a bad game necessarily? Like I think they've all. I'm trying to think. They've all been relatively close.
Yeah, Carolina and the Islanders. Although that the comeback from against the Islanders was like, oh wow, I couldn't believe that the Islanders were up. And the amount of goal, what was the shot volume? It was like 110 to like 25 in favor of the Canes. And sure enough, the dam breaks. So at least it's been intriguing. Maybe it's not the sexiest matchup, but at least you got lots to talk about that series. It's been, first round, it's lived up to the hype in the early days here. So bring it on. More of that, please.
Well, I'll say for this year at least, generally, I feel like the NHL slowly loses its build. Like it goes the other way. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the case, at least for next round, because like taking Pacific out of this right now, you're looking at potentially Bruins versus Panthers. You're going to have Hurricanes versus Rangers, and you're going to have one of Golden Knights or Stars taking on one of Avs or Jets. Like that right there is some good hockey that we're going to see between those three series. At the very least. Although Greg Wyshynski today said he thinks the Rangers would easily handle the Hurricanes. Like almost like dismissing the Hurricanes, which surprised me. Yeah.
Interesting.
Tommy, you got the GCL Diesel pregame show. You'll be live at Hudson's West Edmonton Mall. Cass will be live with you as well. You'll also have the postgame show. Any final thoughts before I let you go, and then we'll call someone for the flyaway?
Yeah, everybody love everybody. Don't beat the crap out of each other if you're going down to the moss pit. And enjoy. Mix in a water, all that good stuff. And tune in to the GCL Diesel pregame show live on location. Hudson's, West Edmonton Mall. I've got GCs. Great to see the Nasties come out the other night. That was great. And a big thank you to everyone. So let's go. Fire it up. Game 2.
Tommy, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Maddie. Ciao, ciao.
And that's Tom Gazzola. This is the Oil Stream out of Iwanyk with you here. Portions of this hour of the Oil Stream. They are brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. I need to get my graphic for that one here. Is that the graphic? I'll find it. There it is. And now I can put it on the screen. Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. Things just got better at Popeyes as the new crispy chicken buffalo wrap is now available too. Classic hand-battered and breaded mild chicken tenders with bold buffalo sauce paired with fresh lettuce, tomato, and mild or spicy mayo wrapped in a soft flour tortilla, available in-store or delivery. I might have to get that. I'll be here all the way up until the GCL Diesel pregame show, so might have to go get some dinner at Popeyes at some point tonight because that sounds delicious. And I know YTT, when he had it here a couple weeks ago, he was just fell in love with it. So be sure to go check out Popeyes for their new crispy chicken sandwich. Zach Tecum's going to give someone a call momentarily here as we'll qualify someone for the EST of FlyAway to Las Vegas. But now just looking at what we've settled on when it comes to the EST parlay for Coolbet. I think McDavid 2 points, Hyman point, Bouchard point, Oilers win. That's what we went with. Rodsy really helping us to steer us in the right direction for this. So I will again text this to the Coolbet boys. Hopefully they could find a way to get it to their people to put it up. If it is available at any point, we'll tweet about it with our Edmonton Sports Talk Twitter account, which you can follow at YEG Sports Talk. Or if you just go to Coolbet, click exclusives, look for where it'll say the Edmonton Sports Talk Parlay, click show odds. It will show up there. The best part about all of it, too, is they usually boost the number for us as well, so we get a little extra juice. If you're looking at the Lock Shop Parlay, which, again, we also don't know if we'll get up. Huss and I just built it. If you just want to do your own, we had Bruins money line, we had Stars money line, we had Oilers money line. That was plus 384. So Bruins, Stars, Oilers winning tonight, plus 384. You can just go build that at Coolbet right now. Oilers, Kings later tonight. It is going to be game 2 coming up after we qualify someone for the EST Flyway. It will be a Nielsen show replay. Lieutenant Eric and Joaquin Gage this morning handling things for one final time before Dustin Nielsen is back. I think he's actually back in the city of Edmonton. Actually, I know he's back in the city of Edmonton because he told, when we didn't know what the playoff schedule was going to be, we thought maybe the Oilers would play Saturday, Monday, or something like that, and then Wednesday. He was like worried that if the Oilers fell 0-2 in a series, he's like, I got to be back for the Wednesday show. I'm going to make it back for the Wednesday show. So because he was saying that, I envision he's at least back in the city of Edmonton right now. But he'll be back in the morning show chair tomorrow. He'll be back in the lock shop, and he'll be back with 2 guys and a goalie as he's now back for the playoffs. So if the Oilers lose tonight, I think we could blame Dusty tomorrow. I think that's one thing we could go with because they had a great game 1. And if Dusty's coming back after a loss, that's the only thing that's changed. We're going to blame Dusty for that one. But it'll be good to have the guy back in EST studios tomorrow. And then Friday is going to lead up to a very big day as not only will it get you set for Game 3 between Oils and Kings, but we also will have the giveaway for the EST Flyaway. And then Corey B is going to be coming in because he's going to be getting Edmonton Sports Talk tattooed on him during the morning show as well. So lots happening Friday right here on EST, including also there'll be Sobeys Beer of the Week, which will be a lot of fun. We've got our qualifier for the EST Flyaway. Zach, who's on the line?
We got Ted on the line.
Ted, congratulations. You are in the mix. Have you ever been to Las Vegas before?
Yeah, once or twice.
Once or twice. What's your favorite thing to do when you're in Vegas? Or if you win this trip and you head down, what would you be looking at wanting to do first thing when you get there?
Looking at going to a hockey game.
Nice. Well, congratulations. You are now into the draw. Be sure to keep your phone on Friday morning because if your name is chosen, boys will give you a call, let you know that you're off to Vegas.
All right, cool.
Best of luck. And again, we're down to our last day of qualifying tomorrow. Only 4 more chances to get into this trip to Las Vegas. Nielsen show tomorrow, EST hangout, lock shop, 2 guys and a goalie. Then we give this away on Friday. Up next, like I said, a replay of the Nielsen Show here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn. But later tonight on those 3 platforms, as well as on YouTube, it is the GCL Diesel pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, Hudson's West Edmonton Mall on Bourbon Street. Tune in for that or go visit them at Hudson's as well. I will also be on with the boys later tonight. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and enjoy Game 2 later tonight.